The grand arrival, a trillion-dollar man in Trump's court. Elon Musk. The name itself carried weight. It promised disruption. It promised innovation. He arrived in Washington not quietly but with a bang. A self-made titan of industry. A man who built electric cars and shot rockets into space. Now, he was here to fix the government. Or so the story went. Donald Trump, ever the showman, loved the idea. Musk, with his bold pronouncements, fit the Trump mold. He wasn't just any advisor, he was Elon, and he came bearing a promise, a colossal, almost unimaginable promise. He would save America $1 trillion. The figure itself was staggering, a trillion, with a T. Washington, a city built on big numbers and even bigger egos, still blinked. How could one man, even Elon Musk, achieve such a feat? He was to lead a new department, the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE they called it, a catchy acronym for a Herculean task. Musk, brimming with confidence, or perhaps hubris, laid out his vision. He would apply private sector principles. He would slash waste. He would streamline operations. He would make government run like a well-oiled Tesla factory. The press lapped it up. It was a fantastic story. The initial days were a whirlwind of activity. The honeymoon period, as it always does in Washington, proved to be remarkably short. Elon Musk, the disruptor, soon found himself face-to-face with the ultimate undisruptible force, the federal bureaucracy. This wasn't a startup he could simply re-engineer with a few clever algorithms and a motivated team. This was a sprawling, centuries-old behemoth. It had its own rules, its own culture, its own deeply entrenched ways of doing things. And it did not take kindly to being told it was inefficient by a man who, in its eyes, knew little of its complexities. The resistance was immediate, and it was fierce. Musk envisioned swift changes. He wanted to cut through red tape like a laser. But the red tape, it turned out, was made of something far stronger than paper. It was woven from regulations, statutes, and decades of precedent. Career civil servants, many of whom had seen reformers come and go, dug in their heels. They saw Musk's plans not as innovation, but as a threat. While Elon Musk wrestled with the hydra of Washington bureaucracy, another front demanded his urgent attention, his own sprawling business empire. Tesla, the crown jewel, was showing signs of strain. Profits, once soaring, reportedly plummeted by a staggering 71%. His personal net worth, a figure often brandished as a testament to his genius, took a $100 billion hit. These weren't just abstract numbers. They represented real-world pressures. Pressures that began to seep into his Washington endeavors. How could he fix the government's finances when his own company's fortunes seemed to be faltering? The question hung heavy in the air. Investors, the lifeblood of any public company, grew increasingly nervous. They had backed Musk, the visionary, the relentless innovator, but now, they saw their champion dividing his time. His focus, they worried, was diluted. Washington was a distraction, a potentially costly one. Whispers turned into murmurs, and murmurs into outright calls for Musk to step back from his government role, to return his full attention to Tesla, to SpaceX, to the myriad ventures that bore his name and carried their investments. The pressure was immense. It came from Wall Street. It came from within his own companies. Musk himself seemed caught in a crossfire. Section 4. DOGE's dawn, chasing billions, finding millions. The Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, set up shop with grand ambitions. It was meant to be the scalpel that would excise $1 trillion of waste from the federal budget. Elon Musk, its chief surgeon, brought his private sector ethos. He talked of lean operations, data-driven decisions, and a relentless pursuit of savings. Teams were assembled, bureaucrats were seconded, some willingly, others less so. The initial flurry of activity suggested that perhaps, just perhaps, Musk could pull off another miracle. He had, after all, revolutionized electric cars and private spaceflight. Section 5. The Quiet Retreat. A promise unfulfilled, lessons learned. Elon Musk's official tenure as a special government employee concluded on June 1, 2025. His departure wasn't marked by fanfare or a triumphant press conference. Instead, he slipped out of Washington, almost unnoticed, as one report put it. The man who had arrived with $1 trillion roar left with something much closer to a whisper. The 130-day special government employee status had run its course. The grand experiment in applying Silicon Valley dynamism to the federal government had reached its denouement. The $1 trillion promise remained largely unfulfilled, a monument to good intentions colliding with harsh realities. The reasons for the initiative's limited success were manifold. The entrenched bureaucracy proved a formidable opponent, resistant to the kind of rapid, disruptive change Musk championed. Ideological clashes with the Trump administration, particularly over trade and spending, created friction. Musk, never one to mince words, publicly aired his disagreements, citing specific decisions and the ballooning budget deficit as points of contention. He couldn't, he implied, align himself with policies that ran counter to his core beliefs, or the very efficiency he was tasked to promote. This made his position increasingly untenable. The relentless pressure from Tesla investors concerned about the company's performance and Musk's divided attention also played a crucial role.